Welcome to this episode of Show Your Scars with Jordan Angeli, a look inside the journey back from a devastating injury. We may not choose for this to happen to us, but we appreciate who we become in the process. Now let's look into this week's episode as we share our strength and show our scars with pride. Today's podcast is brought to you guys by Recoup Fitness. Our friends at Recoup have created a product called the Stinger, and it's the first ever recovery product of its kind. It combines myofascial release and cryotherapy, otherwise known as massage and icing, to replace ice cups for athletes everywhere. This is an amazing product because you can use it in hard to reach places or on bigger muscles like your quads and your IT bands. I use it right around my knee to help with the swelling and just a little bit of relief after I work out. The Stinger is something that you just place in the freezer for 2 hours and you can enjoy up to 6 hours of massage. Come on, guys, recover smarter. Go to recoupfitness.com. RECOUP fitness.com. Use the code ACL Club to get a discount on one of their Stinger products. Right now, go and start recouping like a pro. Hello, Show Your Scars. I am Jordan Angeli, super pumped about this week's interview because this is a person, a player that America loves. It's Miss Allie Krieger, member of the U.S. Women's National Team. She just got traded to Orlando Pride in NWSL. We talk a little bit about that. We talk about her trip to the Super Bowl recently and who her favorite players were in that game. Allie goes over a lot of things that helped her physically and mentally during the ACL rehabilitation process, and something that her dad has told her that really helped her in days that were tough. I think it's really cool that this is something that no matter what you're going through can be used in your life today. She talks about how she took her time, and taking your time is so key, that once she got released and playing again, that there was still work to be done, and she still felt like she progressed back into what her sport demanded of her by playing with the second team and working back up. Allie is just a really cool person. She has great personality and energy, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this interview and get some tips from her about what helped her in her injury recovery process. Plus, you're never going to guess how she really turned tragedy to triumph in winning one of the biggest medals that is known to a soccer player. So without any further chat from me, let's just hear it from Allie. Here she is. Allie.
Hi.
Hi, I'm not a creeper unknown caller. It's just Jordan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? How was training?
Good. It was good. It was good. It was a little long, so I'm sorry that, we're running a little behind. But
no, don't be sorry at all. I want to start off and I want to know how the Super Bowl was.
Oh my God, it was amazing. Honestly, I probably will never do that again. So I wanted to
do it all.
Do the most, and we absolutely did everything possible. I think things just kind of fell into our laps. Each day it was like, hey, do you guys want to come here? Do you want to do this or that? And it's yes. Yeah. So through everyone's connections and through the agencies, I mean, it just was party after party and appearance after appearance, and tickets came up on Saturday. I mean, it was just everything was last minute, but it was so fun.
Oh, you didn't have tickets to the game until Saturday?
Until Saturday, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I had my appearance. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, my appearance was set for a few weeks in advance, obviously with the NFL extra points and doing the kick and stuff, which was so fun. But then I was like, well, I guess I'll just come home Saturday, or Sunday early morning before the game. And then my agent was like, well, it'll probably be last minute for tickets. Gatorade's working on it. So, we'll see. And I said, okay, fine. I'll just wait around and kind of hope for the best. If not, I'll just go home early and watch the game at home, know?
Right.
And it just ended up working out, and it was awesome. And I was like, well, we're never probably going to be able to do this again, so we should go.
I love it. It's the Super Bowl's a weird thing. I actually went last year. And it's a weird game, right? Because there's all the
Yeah.
momentum, like it's like stop and start. I was surprised about who are you rooting for, first off?
Well, I really wanted the Falcons to win.
Yeah, just to switch
I mean,
up.
I like Tom Brady, and
Yeah.
I he's like the best of all time. But I'm kind of just like I was rooting for the underdog, and because
Yeah.
like I'm East Coast, and also I don't know, more Southern, I guess, than Northern. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just kind of wanting them to win because they had such a great season, and I don't know. Tom like wins all the time.
He
so.
does, but I mean, when you do something like that, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What a cool game! What a cool game to witness.
Well, at first we were like, okay, this is a blowout. Like it's already like 21-0 or like 28-3 or 2. I don't even remember. And I was just like, all right, like all the Atlanta fans around us were so pumped. And then all of a sudden, when the guy sacked him and the ball like gets loose, that was when all the momentum changed in the second half, and like Atlanta couldn't get it back.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see.
Favorite player that played in the game?
Probably both. I thought both number 11s on each team, which was so random, but I was like loving it because Julian Edelman, and then what is his name, Julian Jones as well.
Yeah. Julio. Yeah,
Julio. They were like crushing it. They made like 2 epic like catches, and I was just obsessed with that. So I really think that both of those players like had a phenomenal game. But I really like the Ryan, the quarterback for Atlanta. I thought he was like unbelievable.
Yeah. He has a good presence, but those 11s must have felt you there, and they were like, we gotta show our other number 11, you know.
Exactly, they showed up. They're like, well, she's up in the nosebleeds, so we gotta like.
Okay, well, I was talking to somebody else, and I asked them what the first question I should ask you is, and you have to guess who it is and answer: are you sitting up straight, and are your shoulders back?
I'm sitting up straight, but my shoulders are slouched.
Gosh. And who would ask you that question? Oh, you know this. Who always says, "Are you standing up?" Yeah. Chris
Goraz would ask me that.
Yeah, I just talked to him for a while about how we can help athletes after they have been injured and been cleared from their like PT or doctor, but still in that area of where there's like a lot of work to be done. It's a gray area, you know, with return to sport where you still got to crank some work out. So we just had a good talk about that, but I challenged him to give me a question, and he said that, but then he also said, what are you going to do without me?
Probably nothing. My game's gonna like dwindle. So.
And when his last question was, when are you going to invite Jordy and I down to watch you? So I mean, it's all about us, I guess.
You're more than welcome. Yeah, there's plenty of room, so you can stay at the house.
Yeah. Well, really, Al, I'm so thankful that you take a little bit of your time. I know you're a busy lady, but take a little bit of your time to talk to us and kind of talk about your scar story and how you got through your biggest injury probably in your career. I don't know about that. Maybe I know you had a severe concussion as well. So both of those similar, you know, the concussion, not a scar story, but still the same impact of being away from the game in a different way. But I want to go back to January 20th, 2012. What does that day? Right away. I mean, what does that day bring back for you?
I immediately got like a headache. No, I thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of your podcast today and a part of sharing my scars with the ACL community. So I appreciate the invite, and it's just so good to catch up with you again. But to go back to that day, it was obviously at that moment, I didn't realize it was going to be the most grueling recovery process that I would ever go through in my life. Maybe it was the most life-changing experience for, you know, looking at it in a positive way. immediately when that happened during the qualifiers, coming off of like an amazing World Cup experience and feeling really good about my game, thinking I was, at the top of my game at that time in my career. I was 26, I think, or just turned 27. And so I'm feeling like I was at my prime and like feeling really good. And then that injury happened during, the tournament. And I didn't realize how bad it was going to be during, when I was still on the field laying down, feeling pain in my knee. I didn't really realize that it was my ACL, MCL, and meniscus, obviously until the x-rays and MRIs and everything. So I guess during that time, I was still really positive because I was hoping that it would only take me, maybe a 6 to 8 week period. I would be back. I would be able to go to the Olympics. Like I wasn't at that time thinking, okay, this is going to be an 8-month, or 12-month, 14-month process. So, until I found that out the following day, we did an immediate MRI. We went in on a Saturday morning in Vancouver, and the doctors were there, and they came in on their day off, which was amazing. Did a full MRI, and then, I found out that morning before I went to the training session. So it was, it was devastating. I was so pumped to go to the Olympics, and especially in London, and, just kind of starting my career and feeling really good with the national team. And so that was devastating in itself. So, it was really, really tough to kind of process. It took me, it took a week or two to kind of sink in with everything, but I tried to stay positive even from the very beginning.
Yeah. And I think your immediate reaction there, like, it's not as bad maybe as, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. And then, timing, as you talk about, I think timing is such an interesting thing. And how this injury happened, like you said, you were at a really good point in your career. What you thought at the time was like the best of your best. How hard was it, and what helped you immediately for on a mental side to be sidelined at that part in your career for such a long time?
It was the toughest experience of my career, absolutely, without a doubt. Going through that, and just, it's the game that I love most, and the thing that I love to do most is to play football and to be out on the field with my teammates and to get better every day and to challenge myself and to play at the highest level. And so I think being sidelined for that long, that was an experience in itself. Yes, I was sidelined in college for, when I broke my leg and that, but this was a different type of energy that I had to mentally, physically, emotionally. I felt like in my career, because it was the second, biggest injury of my career. So I had gone through something before, but it wasn't to this, intensity because of the level that I was playing at, and the tournament that we were preparing for. So that was, that was so difficult to be sidelined and knowing that I would have had a really great chance of making the Olympic team. Obviously, I never get complacent. So at that time, I was like, you know what, I have to continue to work hard. I got to do well in this tournament. And in that game that I hurt, got injured, we were winning already 7-0, I think, before the half. And I think Pia had planned to take me out at the 42nd minute or so, or happened at the 42nd minute, and I was going to go out at halftime, actually. And that was probably the plan. So even that, knowing that now, I was like, even more devastating. But you know what? I honestly, everything happens for a reason. And I think that because of, that injury and going through that process and sitting on the sideline and having to be more of a vocal leader than a physical leader on the field, I think that really changed a lot of my perspective in a leadership role, but also just as a teammate and a player, being a part of my club team in Frankfurt and with the national team. And I think that is something that, I will never forget, and that I grew and learned and succeeded in. I think just kind of learning these small little details, kind of more just sideline than obviously physically helping the team. But I also wouldn't have gotten to where I am now if that wouldn't have happened, because I think I paid so much attention on, the different types of exercises, having to get back to, even just jogging. I mean, doing the stability exercises, like, and in the, the little small exercises in the gym that you have to do every single day, the balancing exercises and all that. just the little technical exercises that we had to do to stabilize our knee or to get stronger and make the muscles, stronger around the knee to help protect it. I think if I never paid attention to that I wouldn't be a better player like I am now coming out of that injury. So I'm actually happy that I really took care of myself, and did the correct rehab to be where I am now, because I don't think I would be where I am now if it would have never happened, which is funny to say. But,
absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's true too. I think you're so right on that. I want 2 examples of just exercises that you still use, that you learned in the process, that you still warm up with every single day. Like, what do you do?
I really like the stability exercises, and I also do a lot with Chris too. I love plyos, which I think helps, and just like the knee prevention exercise.
Yeah, so like a mini band.
Exactly. The mini bands are key. You can use the double band up above your knees and then on your ankles. And I do all of those little exercises side to side, front to back, 10 steps forward, 10 steps back, and then kind of firing up your glutes, your thighs, every muscle like in your legs to kind of get you prepared to move. And you can do jumping with them as well, side to side, or just up and down. Even just like laying down on the side and doing like the crab ones or the shell ones.
The clam.
Yeah, the clam. Sorry.
I know, that's so awesome. It's one of those creatures in the ocean.
Yeah, whatever. You go next. So,
no, I know, totally.
So yeah, we're doing the clams. And those are key. Just like little things like that. And also just without the bands and jumping side to side, doing 5 jumps to the right, 5 jumps to the left and forward and backwards, and kind of making sure that your knee is stable just to have that prevention before training.
I love it.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
And that's really important. But the balance also, say, for example, with a Bosu ball, and you're doing like RDLs on the Bosu ball or just for balance, just with your body weight, standing and making sure that, you have that type of balance. So I try and do that. That doesn't always happen before training, but in the gym. I always roll out and then I'll do some balance exercises, definitely do the band work, and then I'm ready to go.
Yep. It's so cool that when we go through a big injury, we learn so many things about how our body really works. And we keep that throughout, what we're doing, that awareness is something that we are really thankful for. I think that's what you mean by like,
right.
I'm so aware of how my body functions now that I want to do everything I can to keep it that way.
Absolutely, especially at my age, I'm not getting any younger. I feel really good. So I think still at 32. So I think like that is also what is helping. I mean, not only the yoga, but also, these exercises, the prehab exercises that you still need to do, even when you are playing at 100% and you're back out on the field, you still need to take care of your body and make sure that you're continuing these exercises, which I don't think I would have ever done if I never got injured. So, no matter if you're going through this process or not, I think that those prehab exercises are key. So even at my age, that's really, really important to make sure that I do. And Chris obviously reminds me of that when we train. So that's been a real help. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I love that. I love that, how that keeps going now into your training, but let's go back to your rehab process. And I want to know, do you remember a moment during the process where you were like filled with joy? You were so happy to do X, Y, or Z, whatever it was. Explain that moment and kind of the emotions you had and why those kind of popped up.
I remember specifically being able to jog the first day back. I spent time at home right after my surgery and until I had to really physically go to rehab for my 9-to-5 job back in Germany, which I was very lucky to do because they were, I then had a 9-to-5 job at a facility in Frankfurt that was, a rehab center for, professional athletes. And, they were just watching me like a hawk. So I was so grateful that I was actually there during this injury because I don't think I would be back to where I was without them. It was called R2 Sport in Frankfurt, and they took care of me 2 sessions a day. I had treatment in the morning, and then I would do my strength after lunch. I would eat there at the facility and then do my strength session and then, little exercises. But the one day that I went in there and I could start like going out on the field with the group, there was always a group that would stay in the gym and then a group that, because we weren't yet prepared to go, we weren't able to go out on the field yet and run or do any of the exercise on the field. So that first day that I could go out with that group and like jog just once down the field, just at a slow pace. I videotaped it. I sent it to the U.S. team. Like I sent it to all the girls, and I was like, I know you guys like wanted to see this. So that day, like I was just driving into the rehab facility, 8 in the morning that morning, and I was just a huge smile on my face because I like couldn't wait to go. And it just was such a good feeling because you don't realize how much you miss something until it's gone. I know that's so cliche, but it just was like so refreshing to put on my tennis shoes again or my runners and just go out on that field, even though it was turf, which kind of sucked. But it was just refreshing to be able to run. And, I was running normal and walking normal. I mean, the walking is difficult at the beginning as well. You have to do heel toe, and kind of like, remind yourself. So that day I will never forget. I will never forget how the weather, it was like a cool spring day morning, and like it just was awesome. And I was so excited.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love that you use the word refreshing, because when you're putting on your tennis shoes, your running shoes every single day, and you're not running, you're like, oh, this is so refreshing. I'm putting my running shoes on and I'm going to actually run.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, there's a purpose for today. Like I'm going to go get this done. And yeah, it was very, very exciting. And I was like tearing up a little, I think, just because I was just so proud to be out on the field again. So that was a cool experience.
It's great, Al. And then I'm going to bring you right away into, can you pinpoint the hardest moment during the journey that you had?
I think the hardest moment was maybe, I don't know, physically or mentally. I think they're kind of tied. Okay. Physically, the hardest moment was just not feeling like I would get back to where I was, if not better. I mean, when I was first starting out, I was slow. I was 2 steps behind. It was so frustrating because I was like, this is going to take some time, and you just want to go from 0 to 100. Yeah. When you're out playing, you want to be 2 steps ahead. You want to be right back to where you were, if not better. And you're thinking, okay, well, what did this rehab actually do for me? Like, this isn't helping. Like, I'm not good, or I'm not as, good as I was, or how long is this going to take? And I think that was probably my first game, which was that following September with the second team in Frankfurt. I played with the second team. I played about 70 minutes, 60 minutes. I remember probably 60 to 70 minutes with the second team, because they kind of slowed, obviously had to earn my way back in. But it was so frustrating because I couldn't stop and turn as fast as I could. I would just keep running. As an outside back, I would, an outside mid would get the ball and they would go to try and beat me or serve it. And I would just keep, I would just have to keep running. I couldn't stop, and I was so afraid mentally to do something wrong. So I think I was just frustrated. It was the hardest thing to be kind of 2 steps behind for a while, for a few months until I got back into the swing of things. And then mentally, constantly thinking, okay, can I play full, or do I have to be careful, or is this going to happen again? Or, it was just frustrating
that back and
to go
forth.
out there.
Yeah.
Right. And not feel stable, so mentally pushing through that, that was difficult, but it, obviously came with time, and it's just one day at a time. And that's what I constantly had to tell myself. But those were probably the frustrating moments.
And the mental side of, the reason I started the ACL Club was I just feel like we don't get enough resources on the mental side of this injury, and the getting back from really injuries in general. I think it's, we lack the information. to the athlete. So I'm always curious to know what people did mentally to help them. Did you have an affirmation that you said to yourself? Did you visualize quotes that helped you? Anything that helped you kind of face those mental battles and refocus your brain into something like remembering that you are capable of doing this and that you were strong. So what were some of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on the mentality part of it. I think everyone deals with it differently. So it's kind of like you have to think of what works best for you, and it could be different from what works best for me and from someone else. So I think that for me, every day I would just say, okay, I'm going to set a small goal today for myself. I'm going to try and straighten my knee as far as I can, or at least, however many more centimeters that I have to do it. And and then tomorrow is going to be more, more. I think just the setting little goals for myself and then achieving them. And I think each day I felt like I was moving forward or progressing in a positive direction and strengthening my knee. So I think I would just set little goals and try to achieve them daily, and not kind of look at a bigger picture. I try to take one day at a time, 1 week at a time, one session at a time. Even if I had a 2-a-day session in the facility, I would be like, okay, this is the first session. I'm going to crush it, and then I'm going to eat lunch. And then after lunch, I'm going to move on to the next, and I'm going to do my treadmill, whatever, my walk. I don't know, but I'm going to try and do heel toe every day, or every movement. So it was kind of like setting those small goals, but then also thinking and reminding myself that my dad would always say this to me growing up, and you probably already heard it, but and a lot of people know that I use this all the time, but you can only control 2 things in your life. It's your work ethic and your attitude. And so I tried to work hard and set those small goals, and then, have a positive attitude about it, because you couldn't do anything else. I couldn't, move 3-4 months forward and pretend like, I don't know, this never happened. So I needed to kind of go through the process, grow, learn, and move forward. And I think that I tried to do that every day. But setting those small goals were really, really helpful. Yeah. Because then if you achieve them, then you're like, oh, yes, like I did that. That's awesome. Like I can move to tomorrow. I can set a new goal, and then maybe set a goal for the week, and then the month, and then the next few months. So it was a process, but I think more mentally, that's how I achieved, the more success.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And it's interesting that I'm not saying this works for everybody, but you're talking about too, physically, the hardest thing for you is when you're getting back on the field and not being able to, you know what you're supposed to do, but your body is not caught up with you. And those 2 things of, your work ethic and your attitude, that reminder that you would tell yourself every single day. When I got back onto the field, I would tell myself, work hard, play simple, and be positive. And be positive meant being positive with myself and being positive with my teammates, because if, that's such a reciprocated thing. So I'm totally with you on those. And I think those are such powerful, work ethic and attitude. Absolutely. Control what you can control, especially in this kind of situation where everything seems to be all over the place.
And even if you are thinking, I totally agree. And I think that when you speak positive, you do positive. Yep. And then, so I feel like that's such great advice for, players who are going through this, and people who are athletes, whoever, that are going through this process. And no matter if you don't feel like you were successful that day at your PT or rehab or, session, you can then think, at least you're thinking positive. You're like, well, I showed up. I did what I could, and then tomorrow's a new day, and kind of talk like that, so that, you mentally are feeling good about it, and you're doing everything you can to your best ability. And I think that's all you can control. So that's great advice. Yeah.
I just think we're on the same page. I think that, it's just a similarity in the way that we think. Like you said, everybody kind of has things that work best for them, and that technique kind of worked best for us. You mentioned earlier, like, you were thankful for this a little bit. What's your takeaway? What's your takeaway from the process?
My takeaway is probably paying more attention to the details in my training, but also, not losing sight of what your goals are. Mm-hmm. I think that if I would have just given up after and been like, you know what, I can't come back. Like, I don't think I'll ever play at this level again, because that did cross my mind. I'm like, okay, look, like, at that moment, you know, you're playing at the highest level, even in professional soccer. We both played at the highest level. And so I think that I even mentally thought, okay, gosh, this is going to take a lot. Like, I need to really buckle in and you know, prepare for this. Obviously I can only control me, but, you know, I'm going to do my best to get back. And I think that, you know, that was the biggest thing that I took away, is that, you know, you have to just mentally and physically prepare for a tough recovery process, and that you can't take it for granted. Every time I put on that national team jersey, every time I put on my, you know, professional soccer club jersey, I go out there, and you never know if it's going to be your last game. So you have to put every single thing into it, because you never know if you're going to play at that level again. You never know if you're going to be able to step out on the field again. And I think that is a mentality that if everyone had that, then, you know, everyone would be just so determined to succeed and play their best, because you can't take it for granted. And I think that that's something that I've learned through the process, is that, you know, every opportunity is a great opportunity to play, you know, soccer and have fun and do the thing that you love, because it could be taken away in a heartbeat. Yeah. And I think it was tough for me to process that, because I was like all constantly thinking, well, gosh, am I going to make it back? And then I was like, you know what? Screw it. Like, I got to stop thinking that way, and I got to just do everything, you know, my little goals, and like, you know, stay positive, and I'm going to get back. I'm going to get my chance. I'm going to get my opportunity. But you never know if your knee's going to hold up, or how it's going to feel when you jog, or when you sprint, or when you cut. And, you know, there could be little things that your body is just not accepting. Yeah. So, you know, and that's things that are out of your control. So, you know, luckily everything, you know, worked out, but that was probably, you know, really demanding for me to think about through the process. And I think that, you know, every opportunity that you get to put on the jersey could be your last, so you have to make the best of it. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I also feel like you grew a lot, because you were able to express those feelings of doubts, those feelings of fear, and express them, but also use them as a way to fuel your pursuit to your goal. Like, if you wouldn't have said, I'm scared, I don't think I can get back. If you wouldn't have said that, do you think you really would have gotten, or do you think that was a part of the process that really helped you get through? No, I mean, I think that was really helpful for my process. I know everyone deals with it differently, says different things, but I think that was helpful for my process. So I was kind of like proving myself wrong every day. I was like, you know what? I can do this, and like, maybe, I don't know, maybe tomorrow I can do that. And then I would be surprised at myself for actually doing some of the things that I could do. And, you know, I would try and do extra in the gym, or, you know, one more jump to the right or to the left in my stability exercise, like just try and like hold a little bit longer, like one more second, or, you know, and kind of try to prove myself wrong a little bit each day to get better. Those, I mean, even so small, but it would make me, you know, happy in that moment. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I had some rough moments. I would be crying during an exercise. I'm sure you as well, but I'm sure a lot of the listeners. But, you know, it wasn't a perfect process. You know, there were times where I would go home and I would be exhausted, and I would just start breaking down, because I was like, I just don't know if I can do this, or if I want to do this, you know. But then just talking with my friends, my family, my teammates, constantly pushing me, and also the fans through that whole process. I mean, without them, it's like, I don't know. It just, like, I guess, challenged me every day to get back. But you're right. It was a grueling process, but it really taught me a lot about myself, mentally, physically, emotionally, and going through that, I think I'm very lucky, like I said before, to have learned what that kind of fear is. If you, so there's so many people listening that have, maybe they're in the midst of this injury recovery right now. Do you have something that, like, say you were doing this, you know, you could tell yourself, go back to day one and be like, hey, this is what I wish I knew now. What would you say to these people, or what would you say to yourself? I would say take it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rush the process. Don't rush your knee because you want to get back. Take 14 months. Like
Yep.
it took me probably 12 to 14 months to get back to where I was. And I wasn't even there yet. I remember when Tom, was the national team coach, and
Mm-hmm.
he could barely put me in the squad,
Yeah.
in my first few, weeks back with the team. He's like, look, I know you're back, but I can't put you in the squad. You're not back to where you were, or I know where you want to be. And I respected that. I'm like, look, you're right. You're right. Like I need to work harder. I need to get stronger. I need to continue the rehab process, but you can't go from 0 to 100. You have to let your body heal, and you don't want to come back and play early and then do it all again, or you don't want to take steps back again and you miss 5 or 6 games rather than just missing 1 or 2. Because, you've waited and you've done the work. And I think that, some people tend to rush the process. And I think I'm really happy that I took the 12 to 14 months to get back. I didn't rush back to try and play in a big tournament, or, I had to just suck it up and go through the process and learn and grow. And, but it was tough, it was really tough. And I think that if I could go back to day one, I would probably say not only that, because I feel like I didn't rush the process, but go back and do more work on my quad muscles, I think, to help protect the knee, make those stronger. I think it's not like I skipped it, but I don't think I realized at the very beginning that would be the best advice I could give. That would be the most important, is to strengthen all of the muscles that are surrounding your knee. So doing more of the quad exercises and the balance exercises, to get back. And my leg was like a noodle, and so I needed to really, my calves are like huge. So I was happy that they kind of went down.
You had Jordan legs for a while. You had a Jordan leg and an Allie leg.
I had Jordan legs, like model legs. So they were looking good, but they didn't feel, as strong as usually. My quads are big and my calves are big. So they needed to get back to where they were to help protect the knee. And I think that if I could go back, I would do more of that, even though it's, it sucks and it's a lot, but to constantly, work that quad muscle. And I don't know what it's called, the muscle that's right on top of your knee.
VMO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
so guy.
So that's so important. And that will help you in the long run.
It's great advice. And I think you taking your time maybe led you to this moment. Fast forward to 2015, Women's World Cup is in Canada, and you are part of a team who just played so well, gets to the World Cup final, and you are playing on none other field than the field that you tore your ACL. Did you think about that at all, or did you just how did you step yourself through that process?
Yeah, I mean, I loved that process because I was like, like, look at this. Like, I couldn't believe that it worked out that way. You know what I mean? Like, this is so crazy. I mean, everything.
It was like built for a movie.
Right? I'm like, I couldn't believe it, but I was like, you know what? That needs to be on the back burner, because you cannot think, you're in a new place right now. You're 4 years later. Like, you are, you're well beyond like having to like struggle with that whole mentally, or mentality that, you're back on this field and it's going to be a drag. But I was like, you know what? I can make a new memory, because this is like giving me so much, I guess, energy and motivation and power to get back to this team and this field and, this feeling again. So I think that it was more of a aha moment, like, you know what, I'm back, and like, this is, I don't know, I guess I was thinking I'm going to just crush this and we're going to win, and this is going to be a new memory for me to like share, and it's going to kind of bring everything full circle. And that was more motivating in itself. I guess I didn't really think about that, because I'm like, look, it's a new field, like it's a new team, it's a new tournament. You know what, like, let's just show up and show out. And
new memory you did make. I mean, you became a World Cup champion that day. And do you still catch yourself and say, like, I have won the World Cup? Like, we won the World Cup. That's just like For me, it's so cool to think that like I have all these friends who are like world
Oh,
champions.
absolutely. Yeah, and even for all the soccer, women in the league and for in America, like we all won the World Cup. Like we all won it together, and because we make each other better, and we make our U.S. team the best team in the world, and we have the best league in the world, and it's everyone, and so that is what's so cool about it, and I think that we're just representing everyone else. And I think that was what was so cool about it, and the fans and the families and the friends and just the players in our league and the players who have played for the U.S. And I think that was why it was so meaningful. And I think I broke down right after the final whistle. I fell to my knees and I broke down because it was so overwhelming that all that work that we put in. I mean, we spent 288 days together, but also the process of a 4-year period, me going through my knee personally, but also as a team. So I think that everything just kind of came crashing down, and it was just, we had nothing left to give. And me personally, I had nothing left to give because I had worked back to that moment. And so it was really overwhelming in a positive way, but I was really
so beautiful. It was so beautiful too.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it was cool.
I'm sitting here and I have goosebumps because I love your emotion and your passion and your humility, Al. I mean, gosh, that's a beautiful thing. So proud of you. Okay, before I ask you the last thing, I think I'm going to start this new. I want to start like a rapid fire fun little, because some of the things we talk about are like pretty serious, but like I'm not serious. You know me. I'm like the weirdest person that has walked the face of the earth. So, okay, so rapid fire. You have to answer these as quickly as you can. Favorite food?
Italian. Or no, Mexican.
Oh, color.
Beans.
Did you just say beans?
No, I said Mexican cuisine.
Oh, cuisine.
Beans do fall in that category.
Beans. Yeah. Mexican beans. Okay, I'm doing bad at rapid fire so far. Color.
Fuchsia.
Who's your favorite athlete?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. This isn't even fast. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. That's okay. You can keep thinking. Maybe we'll come back to it if you think of someone. Yeah. Messi or Ronaldo?
I would have a favorite, but I have so many.
Yeah, right. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Favorite song right now?
Body Like a Back Road by Sam Hunt.
Get it. Your favorite book?
Yeah. Right now I'm reading Modern Romance, and I think it's hilarious.
Oh, I've never heard of it. Tattoos. Do you have them?
Yeah, I have 3.
What's your favorite one?
Probably the quote on my side, or on my arm, because it's just a representation of my time in Germany, and from the first German book that I read.
What's it say?
It says, one can see clearly with the heart, but what's most essential is invisible to the eye. But I wrote it in German. I got it written in German.
Love it. Your favorite comeback athlete?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You can't say yourself. No, just kidding.
I know me. No. Was that a trick question?
Yes.
Gosh, I don't know.
Okay.
I think all of the moms on our women's national team, because they are friggin' like super women after they give birth and they have their beautiful children and they come back and they just crush it. And I'm just I just respect them so much.
Snaps to them. Early riser or night owl?
I'm kind of both. Like, it just depends. I'm like, I crush like my shows on Netflix at night. So sometimes I'm up, later than I think, but I also enjoy the morning time so much, having my coffee, sitting outside and before training. So
what's your Netflix show right now?
Right now I'm watching Shameless, and then on Showtime I'm watching Ray Donovan.
Last song you sang in the car?
Probably
Body Like a Back Road.
Yeah, I had that on this morning. Probably that. Or what is the song? Hold on. It's by Lil Uzi. Have you heard it?
No.
You got to download this.
Okay.
It's called People Are Gonna Die. I think I get like street cred for this. Crystal actually gave it to me.
Oh, goodness.
It's Do What I Want by Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, cool. I love that you were singing that in the car.
Oh my God, I was. And I try and like rap to like Bad and Bougie. I looked up the words. Yeah, I'm that person.
I love that.
And I was like, what is he actually saying? And so I like looked it up, and so I try and like sing along to that because it gets me hyped for training.
That's amazing. Favorite emoji?
I think I do the hands up all the time, like the field goal hands up. I don't know why. I'm like, praise them.
Me
like
too.
I just, yeah.
I just thought of this because I've been having weird dreams lately. Who did you last dream of? Like, who was in your dream?
I don't really remember my dreams, which is weird, right? I'm like knocked out all the way.
That's fine. That's fine.
I like really never remember my dreams.
Cool. So it could be anyone out there. You're probably in Allie's dreams.
Yeah, we were hanging out. I get tweets about that too. People are like, "Yeah, we were hanging out in the dream. Like, you're pretty cool." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Like what was I doing?
Oh my gosh. If you had a superpower, what'd you say?
I said it might be a little creepy, but
right. If you had a superpower, what would you choose?
Probably what Rogue has, like strength, or I would try and like transport.
Oh yeah, good one. Who's your best friend?
I have a best friend from home besides Ashlyn. I have a best friend from home, Liz Mumley, who we've grown up since we were 7, and we've played soccer together.
Is that
and
who I
against
just
each
sent
other.
the shirt to?
Sorry?
Is that who I just sent the shirt to?
Yeah, Elizabeth
okay.
Mumley. And she's going through, you guys, she's going through this ACL process right now. She's, I think, 3 months out. Like, she's crushing it. I went to PT with her the other day, or last week, and she looks so good. And I'm rooting for her. She hurt it, actually, on turf, playing in her co-ed match. They play, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week. And she hurt it during that. It was so devastating. But she's been like crushing it, so I'm so proud of her. But yeah, we've grown up since we were 7, and together as best friends, played soccer. She went to Ohio State, I went to Penn State, so we played against each other for 2 years. That was kind of awkward, but we had to like mark each other. It was so weird. But she's been by my side the entire way, and
Right. Shout out, Liz. We love you.
Yes. Love
I don't even know if I want to ask you this question. Favorite teammate ever?
Heather O'Reilly.
Okay. Biggest pet peeve?
Besides you.
No, you don't have. No, I was just saying you've had so many good teammates. You had like that's hard. Biggest pet peeve?
I mean, I love my dudes, but hands down, Heather O'Reilly's like the shit.
Yeah, she is. Shout out Heyo as well. What's your biggest pet peeve?
I guess. Probably people eating with their mouth open.
So annoying.
I'm like, I don't want to see your food. Like, and I don't want to hear you chomping. Like, just keep it closed, and like, we're good.
Okay, if you left for vacation today, where would you choose to go?
Bora Bora.
Oof, talk to me. I want to go to the Maldives. That's my thing right now.
Oh
Maldives.
my God, same. One of those little huts in the water.
Okay, what's your favorite alternative workout that's not your sport?
I love playing like beach volleyball.
Get it.
Yeah, I could do that.
Tan and action.
That would be really fun. That would be cool.
Well,
or like going to like a biking class or something.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, well, great first edition of Rapid Fire. I think we kind of sucked at it, but whatever.
Yeah.
We tried, and it was just we got to know Al a little bit better.
Instead of like me in my soccer uniform. I don't know.
We know that you like to sing to Lil Uzi. I don't even know what it is.
You guys all have to download it. It's called Do What I Want. Crystal, told me to download it, and ever since I've been jamming out to it. And all the young players on the national team are like, "Yo, Krieg, like, how do you know? Is this Uzi or Lil Uzi?" I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, I'm 32.
So
I'm not like a grandma.
I'm like, yeah.
Well, actually, I might have you, if you want. I mean, you have some good tunes, and I know that with with AllieKrieger.com, you do a playlist. So maybe we can share your newest playlist. We can also share with the whole ACL Club.
Oh, that'll be awesome. I need to get back on that. I know the fans are like,
yeah, come on, girl.
I've been slacking.
Yeah.
I'm a little busy. We're a little busy. So.
Okay. Well, speaking of that, I'm going to let you go. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about your scar story, how it helped shape you. And, it's just been really good to talk to you, Al. And right now you are prepping for, the She Believes Cup. You're prepping for your next season. A new season with Orlando Pride, which is so fun. Like, you get to wear purple. I'm jealous. Like,
I get to wear purple. I feel like everyone looks so good in purple. So
I love purple so much. So, I want you to imagine now we are years and years down the line, and your career as a professional is over. What do you want your legacy to be as a soccer player? What do you want people to remember you for?
I obviously want to leave the game better than, where I left it. And I want people to remember how I made them feel rather than just what I gave to the game. I want, fans and teammates alike to just realize that we are people and we're human beings. And I want to leave a good impression and good feelings and be a good teammate, I think, and just a good player that can kind of relate to the fans and be somewhat closer to the fans to make them feel like, we all care like we do. And I just want them to know that I appreciate each and every one of them, both teammates and coaches and fans. So I hope to leave that type of legacy. People always remember the way you made them feel. So that's something that's really important to me and close to my heart, and the type of legacy that I want to leave.
Yeah. And last question here, Craigs. What does show your scars mean to you?
Show your scars means that, you go through a life-changing process, and you shouldn't be afraid to, go through that process full throttle, not around it, not, over it or under it. You go right through. And my brother has said that to me multiple times. And I think that is great advice. So you just go through the process, you share your scar along the way, you hopefully help people to, stay positive and to go through the process with you and to come out very successful on the other side. But you learn a lot about yourself. And I think that is why Share Your Scars is so awesome. So
love it. Thank you so much. Beautiful answer. And it's been great talking to you, Al.
Yeah, so good to talk to you, Jordan, and bye to everyone listening. And I can't wait to follow along your podcast. This is amazing.
I hope you guys loved that podcast as much as I loved recording it. A great interview with Allie Krieger, and she just had such a great mentality throughout the whole process, and still does as she continues to fight for everything that she wants in her life, whether it be a starting spot now on the national team or earning a spot on her new team in Orlando. She has a really good head on her shoulders and ability to realize that she's in control of what she's in control of. And I think her dad really instilled that in her at a young age. And that's probably one of the big reasons why she is now a World Cup champion. Let us know who you want to hear from next. We have a couple interviews lined up, but we want to get some more people who want to show their scars and share their strength with us on this podcast. So email me, info@theaclclub.com. The ACL Club is my business, so that's what I use my email through. But it doesn't have to be an ACL injury. Just happens that Allie's was. But anybody that you think has a cool scar story, we would love to share it. So go out there today, people, and show your scars with pride, would ya? Have a good one.